Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. We're still out here shooting today. So I decided to go for the hook rest that actually came with this. It is actually kind of cheap and cheesy like some people have mentioned. I bought a trophy ridge yesterday from my archery guy, and wow, night and day difference in quality, let me tell you. But we got to try these things, and this is a piece of original equipment that came with the bow. So I've got my 500 spines back out here that are slightly longer. And I got the 700s. We're going to shoot those first. They're just a little bit shorter, and they're definitely lighter than those. So let's give this a go, see what happens. Not bad, not great. 3 in, 3 out. Still no dead on bullseye, but hey. These things do fly interesting from this particular rest. All right, one more round with the 7s. See if we improve things, and we'll hit the 5s. Well, there may yet be some hope for these 700s, maybe. We've got fives to do now. We'll see how well they fly in comparison off the plastic rest. Well, that kind of sucked. At least we got one in the yellow. I like to say I want to do a do-over on that, but we're not. The cheap plastic rest, although functional, it's a little on the too stiff side, I think, for either one of these arrows. But every odd shot I hear this really nasty slap, and it's like, okay, didn't hit nothing, but it's coming on from that rest. I'm not sure I like that cheap plastic rest. I would definitely say go get yourself a trophy ridge one if you're going to shoot off the rest with this bow, or any bow for that matter. I mean, come on, they were cheap, right? You know, and I bought what was it, I guess about a 6-pack or something, and I had compared them to that one. That's the one that came with it, and they're exactly the same cheap stiff plastic. So I think the only real hope for this rest is maybe putting a plunger through the side, because your arrow will either sit out here or it sits in here. It kind of varies, right? It's just not a well-balanced rest in comparison, because there's no other side tang that comes out. Like on the trophy ridge I have, which would be the same one on my Nighthawk bow, it has a little balancer tang that pushes out to keep the arrow up against the actual hook itself to give it the clearance, eh? So it's kind of like slap in and out. So that's definitely going to screw with your accuracy no matter what you do. So I'm going to say, I guess I'll be either trying to make a homemade plunger in the meantime, basically a bolt that's going to go through here, and it's going to have a little fine kind of a blunt face on it, and maybe I can do something like that to balance the arrow out. But otherwise, it can go in the garbage as far as I'm concerned for that kind of a rest. Shooting off the shelf seems to be pretty good overall. Definitely that three brush biscuit that we tried the other day, that thing was magnifique. It worked really well. You know, so that was kind of nice. You are definitely between going with that one to shooting the shelf with the pad. This actually had to drop quite a bit because of the pad, because everything else drops too. The other thing you'll notice is I have no knock on here. It blew off on me because I didn't put it on all that tight. So, but I've been balancing it in my fingers, so I know I'm okay on release. It's not a problem. Besides, these things knock up tight to the string anyway, so actually I have to push them in place. But either way, we're gonna have to put a new knock on there. But I still have to try out the compound bow fork rest I've told you guys about. It looks like 2 little hooks that come down. that was another option that I had in mind for shooting feathers or fletches, plastic vanes, which my archery guy thinks that, you know, it should work, because if it works for a compound for plastic fletches, it's gonna work for feathers, obviously, right? And I talked to a few others about it. Same thing. We figure should work, but is it going to be equally as good to the biscuit that we used, or is it going to be better, or could it end up being worse? It's gonna kind of thing. We have to try this. So I looked it up on Amazon, and to get one in, I can't actually order one until probably the 22nd, unless I get money before then. And it's still going to take till probably near end of August before the bloody thing shows up from China, because it's the only place I can get one cheap enough, because they're like 27 bucks. But anyways, unless I can find one locally for a decent price that's left-handed, because it's going to have to be a left-handed model. They're not universal. I found that out the hard way once. But I think overall, the 5s still do better for 500 spine, and that little extra weight really does make a difference. And these have 100 grain tips on the 500s and 85 grain on the 7s. I still have to decide, like, what am I going to order as main arrows. So right now I'm playing between the 7s and the 5s, because I don't think there's going to be that much of a big difference to write home about between a 700 spine and a 600 spine. But 7 to 5, that's a big difference, and the 5s are flying good as long as we have less weight. Like those 520 grains, those are still 500 spine, but that wrap adds 160 grains, and these things just go bleh. You know, plus we lost one in the bush, but we did find it again, so because it couldn't get very far. It was so slow. But anyways, shooting off the wrist is still going to be okay. You're going to need a good quality rest for a plastic rest. And I want to try the actual plunger and whole fancy thing they use on Olympic bows. I want to try one of those out too on this thing, because I think that may end up being like the ultimate system. But then it's not going to allow us to run feathers and plastic vanes. Okay, the idea is to try and see what we need to run dual, because feathers are more expensive arrows in the exact same arrows with the plastic vane. Like, it's more than a $10 difference in price in the overall. So like when you're ordering them in batches, so it's kind of like, well, which way do you want to go? And a lot of these cheap kits, they come with plastic vanes too, right? And they're not suitable for shooting off those bows with what they come with. So it's like, well, you know, what do you do, right? Go to feathers or find another solution, which is what we're trying to do. Anyways, still going to be a while before we get the review for this thing, but we are still going to do more testing for sure for you guys and see what's working and, you know, what might not work, kind of thing. In the meantime, see you in the next one.